Um, 11th day of MCO. Okay. Actually, when I was given the topic, the title, Value and Mission in Life, I do feel that actually this is a very big and deep topic, actually. It's difficult to cover this topic in 20 minutes. So I can only be as precise and brief as possible so that we can cover the main points and um, about value and mission in life. Now, is anyone here plan to be not successful in life? You can raise your hand. I assume nobody is here to plan to be not successful in life. But basically, if we are not planning to be not successful in life, um, we must understand that actually um, we have very limited time then. Okay, why do I say that we have very limited time? Maybe some of you are only 20 years old, university students, and you still have, you may think that you have a very long and bright future ahead of you. So I have maybe 40, 50 years, 60 years more to live. So I can actually take my time. But think about it again. Exactly how long do you wish to live? And the fact is, life is really very unpredictable, like what we are dealing with now. Um, we don't really have a control of exactly when we want it to end. But at the same, however, if you have a plan, let's say we were to say that a normal retirement age of 60 years old, and imagine if, let's say, if you are 20 years old now, and you may think that, oh, I still have 40 years to go. But let's face it, during these 40 years, actually 30% of the time you'll be sleeping actually. And then the other 30% of the time, you're actually doing other things like eating and getting ready, traveling, etc. You know, and you'll be having a lot of time spending on things that we do on a daily routine. So the remaining amount of time out of the 40 years, maybe technically you only have about 15 years or less to really work on your successful life, you know, work on your career. So um, is this a long distance or is it a short distance? You know, to me, um, because it is, life is unpredictable, to me it is actually a short distance run. And you know, just like any short distance run, the most important part of it is actually the start of it, and you need to give yourself a big push so that you actually get a good head start with your career. And um, um, and so the beginning actually makes a very, very big difference. Well, I know that some of our audience in here today are actually probably quite mature already, but for us, actually, will be, of course, even a bigger disadvantage. For the younger ones, you definitely need to have a very good start of your career, and having the right knowledge and information will give your career a good start. Okay, a bit about myself before we continue. Well, I actually was never educated in Malaysia. I was actually grew up in Singapore, graduated from America with mass comm and political science, and then I finally returned back to Malaysia since 1996. And I accidentally started my first company in 2000. Accidentally started because I didn't plan for it. If you remember, 97, 98, we had a financial crisis, and the company that I was working with, despite the crisis, we were doing very, very well. And when the economy recovers, the company that I worked for was bought over by another international company. And when got bought over, I was one of the first to resign because I didn't believe in the company's direction anymore. And so I accidentally started my company because the moment I quit my job, I got actually some offer to help them to do some work. And my first client was actually Resorts World Genting, and the rest was kind of history ever since from then. Over the years, fast forward to today, I'm still COVID-free. Yay. I hope all you are as well. And I'm actually a retired consultant and trainer. I don't do much consultant and training anymore. I don't do much of a public speaking anymore, actually, for for the last 5 years, actually. So this is a very rare occasion that you see me speaking, actually. The reason why I don't do consultation and training anymore was exactly like what Max shared with you all. I felt that those so-called business professional kind of career, it wasn't really as a business owner or as an investor kind of a career. In Chinese, we have this saying that when your hand stop, your mouth stop. 少停好停. And I felt that as a trainer and a consultant, I wasn't really leaving my talk. You know, I still had to work, and I couldn't take my own time. I don't have the freedom of doing what I want to. And actually, I went through a lot of so-called enlightenment and changes in my career over the last 20 years, but especially the last 5 years was very, very different for myself. I actually venture into a lot of businesses. I am in property service office. I run a service office with call center, helping a lot of new startups. Also in some agriculture as well, tea trading and retailing actually. And I've already published 3 books. You can see it on the screen. My first book was called Free Branding. That was quite a number of years ago already. Then later, I published 2 other books, which is Employee Ownership. Employee Ownership is actually 2 books that is about HR. And they come in a pairs because the red one is actually for the employers, and the yellow one is actually for the employees. And because I felt that HR is always like a double-edged sword. You can have a company that is very into helping an employee to groom, but the employee could be very half-hearted. At the same time, an employee could be very committed to help a company, but the boss is just thinking of himself. So it needs two to work together. It needs two to collaborate, actually. And that's what the 2 books basically is about. And again, I remind all of you that we're going to pick at least 10 of the participants today to receive a free copy of my books. So later, after the webinar, my colleague will probably identify you and speak to you and then get your details. And then we will mail you the book, most probably after the MCO, okay? Now let's get back to the topic. So what is value and mission in life? Frankly, this is a very, very heavy topic, and I don't want to bore you, so I'm going to make it really simple and easy for everyone to understand. When you think about value and mission in life, I think we think about what is the meaning of life, in other words. And the meaning of life is none other than just going through the life cycle, you know, how we were born and then we grew up, went through education, come out and look for job, we grow old, we get sick, and then we finally go back to the ground. And so exactly what is the meaning of life actually? Like this quote, life has no meaning. Each of us has meaning and we bring it to life. It is a ways of to be actually asking the question when you are the answer. And what is this quote trying to say? It basically means that the meaning of life is in our own hands. You know, the value of life lies in our own hands. Basically, it is of our own doing that actually states the meaning of life. And it is the day when we all slip into the coffin. The moment before we shut our eyes, we ask ourselves, you know, exactly what did we do in our life? You know, what did we actually achieve during this lifetime? And that is the meaning. It is not what anybody else say about you or what they think about you, but it's very much what you determine at the end of the day. And I do want to remind actually a lot of these university students and young ones that whatever that you do in your life, a lot of times they are actually carved in stone, either on your tombstone or on your resume actually, because whatever that you do, like the career that you pick, you can't actually redo your career again. And you can't actually deny what is already done on your resume, that is actually already so-called carved in stone on your resume. And do choose wisely of your career and do choose wisely of what you want to do. You must have a plan, okay? And if you do not have a plan, you will be someone else's plan. You know, if you have no idea what you want to do, you eventually end up as your boss's plan, you know, and your boss will plan for you and tell you what you should do, what you should not do. They will tell you exactly what you should learn, what you should not learn. Well, have some authority over it, have some ownership over your own future, have some ownership of your own career, have some ownership of what you want to do. If you plan to have a successful life, have ownership of that. Start planning what you have to do in order to make that happen. During this MCO period, do you choose, you know, if you are someone who choose to be successful, um, would you choose to just laze around and watch some TV and just let the day go by? Or would you actually come to webinars like this and start learning, you know? And frankly speaking, myself, during this MCO, I really do feel that I'm busier than ever because every morning my webinars, or rather my meetings, my virtual meetings will start at 9 a.m. and sometimes even earlier. And until the end of the day, I will still have webinars and classes that I personally is attending at night, you know. And there's so many talks and so many videos going on, especially during this time. And you cut down all the traveling time. And usually the traveling time is when I cool down or when I shut myself off. Now I don't get any of those, you know, and it's back to back. It's actually even more tiring and busier than ever. So actually, I hope every one of you have a very fruitful day as well, even you are during this time. And by not doing anything, I tell you, it's very easy to get into depression. Actually, it's better that you keep yourself active, right? Now, you should accelerate your learning. Don't let your learning so-called maneuver you, but you can in charge of the learning. Now, a lot of people likes to quote like people like very successful entrepreneurs like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg. Do you all know what's so common about them? And a lot of people like to point them as examples, including Steve Jobs. Now, all of them didn't graduate, and a lot of people likes to say that, you know, look at these people, they become successful, but they didn't even graduate. Now, actually, I'm not sure if all of you actually got the right message. Why didn't they graduate? You know, they didn't graduate is not because they don't believe in the education, they don't think they need the education, but they actually accelerated their learning. They learn faster than what the university is teaching them. That's why they left the university. Okay, they didn't stop learning because they felt that, oh, I don't need the university degree. It's not that. They stopped the university degree is because they have learned beyond what the school is teaching them. They are learning faster than what the university is teaching them. And indeed, all of us should learn at our own pace and not at what the universities are telling us or whoever that is telling you what you should learn. You know, if you are interested, if you're passionate about the topic, you should have the hunger, you know, to always wanting to know more and learn more. And that's why even at my age, almost 50 years old, I'm also still learning every day. I'm also still picking up a lot of courses online and all that. And for the young ones here, definitely, you know, taking the fundamental financial literacy is really, really the beginning of everything. Okay, you should pick up the course and learn about it. Now, I don't mean to do this like a sales talk, okay? But anyway, the next thing after you have learned is to be a fast contributor. A lot of us is too well trained by our universities and our schools of how to learn, how to learn, how to learn. But they fail to actually teach us how to be a fast contributor. When you get into the career, when you get into your job, you must always refocus your mind to how to contribute, okay? Because at work and in your career, the more you contribute, the more you learn. That's where you get your learning. It's not by through asking, it's not through by trying to find the answers from your bosses or from your colleague, but it's through the work that you do. By being productive, by doing things, you actually will learn things from there and you become better in your skills, in your productivity. So be a fast contributor. Never, never, I always tell all the interviewee, never say that you're a fast learner because I don't care. I'm not your father and I'm not your principal or your teacher, you know, but I want to know if you are a fast contributor. Okay. Now, try to secure early wins, because this is going to be the fuel. This is going to be the pump, the petrol, the energy that will drive you even further. Because if you're not going to secure early wins, you're going to try and try and try, and then you feel that very tired, and then you start to become demotivated. Why do I not see result? You want to make sure that you want to go for the easy wins first. Get as many wins as possible. Start accumulating them. And when you have lots of wins in your career, you have a lot to show. You're going to have, like I said, every step that you take is going to be carved in stone in your resume, okay? And it's going to be carved in stone in your profile, in your credential. You want to show that you are full of achievements in your whole lifetime. Whatever that you have done some kind of achievement. If today you're committed to do this, do it not just because you want to do it, but do it because you want to be the best ever. You want to be great in it, okay? So that's why you are doing it, okay? Now, running faster in the wrong direction doesn't get you nearer to your destination. So you must always check on your direction. You must always check on your having a so-called um, uh, milestone. Okay, you must know what are your milestone, that you must have like checkpoints for your directions. Now, I am someone who, I know that we have always talked about setting goals and stuff like that, but frankly, I'm someone who don't actually stress about setting goals in life, because I feel that sometimes setting goals in life, they are actually limitations to ourselves, limitations to our ability to achieve higher. So to me, setting goals, they are kind of just like milestone, and they're just like checkpoints. That I just want to know that, am I going at the right direction? They are just checkpoints. Just remember, setting goals is very, very important, but they are not your limitations. They are actually only milestone and checkpoints for you. Okay. Now, know yourself, especially your strength. Why? Because you don't want to get into a position where you don't get to exercise your strength, but you are exercising your weakness. Can you imagine if you get into a job, but the job doesn't really allow you to exercise your strength, but always asking you to do something that you're very weak in? Obviously, you're not going to perform very well, right? So make sure that you know what is your strength, especially. Now, don't waste time on your weakness. Some people tell me that, hey, I'm very weak in this. Maybe I should take up a course. Maybe I should spend some time every day trying to improve it. I say, don't waste time on it. Every one of us is not perfect, including myself. Every one of us have flaws. But spending time on our weaknesses, actually, you're wasting time and resources on it. But spend time on your strength, because the more time and emphasis building on your strength, the stronger you're going to be. And you're going to be so strong that you will blind everyone from your weaknesses. Nobody will see your weaknesses because your strength is so strong. Okay, so focus on your strength, know yourself, put yourself in a position where you can exercise them. Now, next is, of course, believing in yourself, having authority of what you are able to do, okay, and do what you are good in. Now, I love this so much. Imagine yourself as an eagle, and an eagle must soar. If you imagine yourself as a chicken, you'll be pecking on the floor, and you'll be always focusing on the small little issues. But as a leader, as a successful person, you must position yourself like an eagle. Always must be able to see the big picture. Always must be able to be 2 steps ahead of your clients or your bosses. You must be always be thinking ahead and doing things that is productive. Now, it is also always important to put give yourself the sense of urgency. A lot of people say, oh, I want to be successful, but I have lots of time. I'll take my own sweet time. But being an entrepreneur and all that, one of the most important discipline, which is actually the self-discipline, which is actually the ability to get started yourself. And a lot of times we need to imagine ourselves to be in a situation where it is a sink or swim situation. We got to swim or else we will sink. So we just have to work hard and continue swimming. All right. Now, be the leader of your own future. Now, the whole idea of this, of my talk actually, and my books that I shared with, very much is I encourage everyone to actually have ownership, have more ownership of your future, more ownership of what you want to do, more ownership of your learning, and be the leader of your own future. Okay, only if you're a good leader of your own future and a good manager to yourself, you will be able to lead and you will be able to manage other people. If you can't even walk the talk, you will not be able to lead. Okay, so that kind of concludes my sharing today. A lot of times, our knowledge and our sharing, to concise them into a short given time, is actually a very challenging thing to do. So I actually would very much prefer to answer questions, so that sometimes what we say and what we answer to would be more relevant and specific to your specific concerns.